In this video, I'm going to be showing you the best way to find a supplier. I'm going to be showing you some ways to steal other people's suppliers and find brand new suppliers. It's a full walkthrough in this video. My name is Fred Sanders. I currently am running 3 7-figure businesses, and I currently help other businesses scale to $100,000 a month. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. So if we go to the site called Import Yeti, this is a great site to be able to steal other people's suppliers and see exactly what suppliers are using. This is super helpful, super helpful. So let's say I would think of the brand Lululemon, okay? So we type in Lululemon. We want to see what type of supplier they're having. So we can see Lululemon. I want to always make sure I check the total shipments just to make sure that it's Lululemon. Of course, if it's a huge brand like that, they're going to have a lot of shipments. If it's like 18 shipments right there, then that might be a different brand that we're not necessarily looking for. All because the name isn't always the exact same as like Lululemon. It might say Lululemon USA or Lululemon Canada. It might be a bit different. So regardless, click on this one and you're able to scroll down and see the exact suppliers that Lululemon uses. This is huge, okay? So you're able to see like exactly a product description of what these suppliers do. They have different suppliers for different things. They have different suppliers in different countries, Vietnam, Cambodia. You see that their Vietnam supplier does all their men's knit pullovers and whatever those are. This one in Cambodia does more of the women products, and you can kind of see just what supplier is handling what. They don't just source all their products from one supplier. They like have all their pants made from one supplier, then all their hoodies made from one supplier, and all their beanies made from another supplier. And you get to see exactly what you're looking for. So if you're looking for like a hoodie, or let's say you're looking for some type of physical product, you're able to see what this company is using at scale. So you know that they're a great supplier. First of all, they're already vetted. They're already doing millions and billions of dollars, most likely depending on the brand. And you know they're a great supplier and they're going to have great, exceptional, everything that you're looking for in suppliers. So go ahead and click on the supplier you're using. And then all you have to do is just click on name. And it's going to take you right over to Google. And it's going to basically pull up that supplier. And they're going to have, hopefully the supplier has a website. You can see right here, there's like 4 different ones. They have LinkedIn. They have a Dun & Bradstreet. They have this Panvia, whatever. Theirs is right here because if you click on it, you're able to see and you do a little bit research. They have 3 different names, 3 different facilities at Sprinta, and you can see they're the world's leading apparel manufacturer, and you can probably believe them because they're the suppliers for Lululemon. So that's a great way to find some crazy suppliers, whether you're a clothing brand, whether you're running a physical product. Search up someone in your competition and steal the supplier they're using. Now I'm going to show you the second way by using Alibaba to find a supplier. So all you got to do for this one is just go on Alibaba.com. And from here, you're going to make sure that you're not on products. Make sure you click on manufacturers right here. This is going to take you to manufacturers after I verify this. Boom. So now when you're in manufacturers, all you have to do is just search up whatever you're looking for. So if you're looking for a fitness product, type in a fitness product. If you're looking for a clothing brand, streetwear, go ahead and type in streetwear right here. And there's going to be a few things we're going to be looking for these manufacturers. Yes, there's thousands of manufacturers all throughout China. I would recommend getting, if you're doing a clothing brand or if you're doing any physical product, to go from China. They typically have the best manufacturing and the cheapest manufacturing. Wouldn't go to like brands like Pakistan or other areas. China is very, very great. Either China or USA. USA can be very expensive. But going over, you're going to be looking at a few metrics to make sure that they're an actual good seasoned veteran manufacturer. You don't want just any type of supplier who just started, who has like a little rinkety-dinkety setup. You want someone who's established in the game, has handled millions of dollars, who has a very big building, who has been doing this for years. So that's why I say make sure they have been doing this for a minimum of 3 to 5 years. You can go ahead and check on that by seeing right here, they're verified and it's been a minimum of 3 years. Also, make sure they have done at least $1 million in revenue. As you can see, these guys have only done $300,000, which means they're not used to money. I love people who are seasoned veterans who've handled millions of dollars. I know they can handle bulk orders. If I need to go in bulk, if I need to order thousands of products from them one day and send them millions of dollars, they've already been trusted with it, okay? These people right here have done 2.8 million, have been in for 5 years. That goes into the next one. And the last one is you want to make sure before you go on anything that you check trade assurance. Alibaba is very good. And the reason why I use Alibaba is because it offers protection on your money. It can be very scary sending your money to someone overseas, 12-hour different time zone, and sending them thousands of dollars, and they're in China. The great thing about Alibaba is they offer trade assurance. So just in case the manufacturer doesn't hold up their end of the bargain, they send you something that's completely different from what you ordered, or they just scam you and never send you your money. Alibaba is going to protect your money and give it back to you. This feature works. I have used it to save myself from thousands of dollars. So I always make sure my manufacturer or supplier is offering trade assurance, because some people would just not offer it, so they can possibly get away with future scams in the future. I never send any money through third party like PayPal or bank wire transfer. You'll see a lot of suppliers talk about that. I only send it straight through Alibaba with trade assurance. So that's a huge thing to make sure that they actually offer. And equally as important, I'll go through and I'll chat a bunch of these people. You'll see in the next step, I'm going to show you what to be sending these people, but we're going to be chatting like, 20, 30, 40 different suppliers. We're going to be vetting as many suppliers as we want. And we're making sure that these suppliers have a fast response time. Now, keep in mind, they're in China. And if you're in USA, they're most likely like 12 hours ahead. So they do have to sleep. They do sleep. But like, you want to make sure like towards the nighttime, like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., who's responding the fastest? And if you're texting them while they're up, who's also responding the fastest? The worst thing you could do is have a supplier who has a bad response time. You're texting them and they're not responding for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And it just slows down your production. You feel like you've been scammed and they're just kind of stalling. And I just hate that. So you want to make sure they have a fast response time before you decide to do any business. So that's another little thing that you want to vet about your supplier when you're looking for one. So the next step on my vetting process, like I said, you're going to have 40, 50 suppliers that you're all going through and just trying to pick who's the best one. How I personally say they must have and how I vet them is they have to must have these things. They have to allow air shipping, which basically means fast shipping. I don't want my stuff shipped on a boat. That thing takes like 2-3 months to ship over a boat. They have to be able to use air shipping. Like I said, they must have a fast response time. Obviously, if I'm texting them and it's 3 a.m. their time, I'm not expecting them to respond. But when it is their daytime, I'm expecting quick responses around the clock, no matter what. I'm also expecting professional chat. I'm not looking for someone who types in lowercase letters and misspells things and can't really speak fluent English, because they're not going to be able to have communications with you how you need to. And it's going to be a hassle in the future. And 9 times out of 10, if the Chinese manufacturer didn't hire someone who can speak great English and to handle all their transactions, because, most of these people speak Chinese. So they're hiring like people who speak English to handle all these incoming inquiries from people like me and you. If they didn't hire a good person, they're most likely not a good factory. So that just shows a lot about the company. Like, if you can't speak to me professionally, how can I expect you to treat my money professionally? Okay, so that's kind of how I look at it. This is another one, is a negotiation tactic. I love when I'm like negotiating for bulk orders. I'm like, hey, in the future, if I were to order 500 or 1,000 or maybe even 5,000 of these units, what would the price be? And that's going to be a great way to go ahead and get the actual bottom price. You'll realize the thing about Chinese manufacturers, and really just any manufacturers, and I'm going to give you some real sauce. I know I'm rambling, but the more that they produce, the cheaper that they can give you. And the price is always negotiable. So their price for 5,000 units is going to be a lot cheaper than 500. Let's say 5,000 units is $5 and 500 is $10 per unit. Okay. At 5,000 units, that's basically the cheapest that they can get it while still maintaining a profit. So that's probably closer to the amount that you'll be able to do. If they can do $5 on 5,000 units, they most likely, for the first time that you buy them, will be able to do it for 500 units. So that's a great negotiation tactic. If you're trying to like get them down on their price, they're like, hey, we'll do it for $12 a unit. You're like, no, that's too expensive. How many will you do for 5,000 units? And they're like, oh, we can do it for $6 a piece. You're like, okay, do $6 a piece for this first order of 500, and you can kind of lower the price right there and just do it just one time for the special time, and they'll most likely work with getting that price down. Okay, so that's a great way to get their bottom price. So yeah, on Alibaba, you're going through your checking which one has trade assurance, which one has at least $1 million in spend, which one has a pretty decent sized factory who's been in business over 5 years or longer. You're gonna click on chat now to actually start talking to these suppliers. Or let's say you found a supplier off the previous method. Now it's time to contact them. So when it's finally time to reach out to these suppliers, you're gonna go ahead and start by sending this chat. It's gonna be like, I am looking for, you're gonna give a very detailed description of your product. You're gonna ask them a question, hey, what is your MOQ? MOQ basically means the minimum order quantity. Like I said, these suppliers love to deal in bulk. It's a lot cheaper for them to produce 5,000 rather than like 500. So some suppliers will set like MOQs, which is like, hey, you must order at least 1,000 or 3,000 units or we won't even do it with you. So it could be a huge waste of time if you find a great supplier and their MOQ is like 5,000 and that's out of your budget. So you want to find a supplier with a reasonable MOQ to what you're trying to buy. Then you want to also ask for a sample cost. They're going to be sending you samples. Ask them, hey, how much is the sample cost? How much is the shipping on the sample cost? Make sure you also ask for shipping because these guys try to be a little sneaky with making the sample cost really cheap and then just charging you extra on the shipping. Also ask how long will it take for production and shipping. This is huge. You don't want to be waiting months and months and months for these products to be coming to your door. Keep in mind, some of these suppliers may exaggerate how fast the shipping is going to be there. You know, they may say, hey, it'll get here in 7 business days, and it really gets there in 10 to 14. So that's just doing your due diligence on the other side. Like, hey, how long have they been in business? How much money have they really been handling? How big is the factory? That's just going to tell you, like, are these people trustworthy? Are they responding back quick in a professional tone? 9 times out of 10, those people are going to actually mean what they say when they're talking about all this information that they're giving you. So don't trust everyone because there are bad manufacturers and suppliers out there and they will try to get over on you. So go ahead and send this text to every single supplier along with the file of your mockup file. So now let's talk about the mockup file very briefly of what your mockup file should include. This is going to give your supplier a very in detail of what you're looking to be made. So the mockup file should include the mockup of your product. So that's just going to look like an actual view of what your product looks like, front, back, sides, everything, mockups. If you don't have one, go to fiverr.com, ask someone to make a mockup for you for a few bucks. Okay. You need to also have whatever material is being made of. So if it's a fabric, what's the fabric? Is it cotton, polyester? What's the mix? Make sure you know exactly what fabric type and it's mentioned on there. Also, make sure you're mentioning a product material. So if you're doing like plastic or, you know, strong plastic, if you're doing an actual product, make sure you're being super detailed with whatever type of material you want. Otherwise, they'll just give you the default. The default's probably going to be the cheapest. And if you're looking for quality products, you need to be very specific about what you're getting, okay? Or they won't give it to you. Also, include your measurements, very detailed measurements. You should show on the mockup what the measurements are. I love to also send my graphics separately. They're probably going to ask you when it's time to print. That just looks like if you're running like a clothing brand and you have like a design on the shirt, or let's say you're trying to put a brand logo on a specific product, that just looks like the actual graphic that's going on there. So it should be a SVG file or whatever type of graphic file you have. Send that to them. Also include in that file the sample quantity. That should be the mockup file. So once you send that to them, it's going to give them every bit of detail. You also did a brief description of it right here, but they'll be able to click on that and see exactly what you need before moving forward so they can give you an accurate sample cost, shipping time, turnaround time, and kind of help you out a lot more. But that's everything in a general and brief nutshell of how to find a supplier and how to reach out to them. I would recommend reaching out to as many suppliers as possible. I say at least 50. It might take you a few hours to find a good supplier, but you got to realize you'll probably be working with this person for a few months, maybe even years, depending on your product. So it definitely pays off to do your due diligence on picking the right relationship. That's everything I have for this video. If you have a brand that you're trying to scale to $100,000 or more a month, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. My Instagram should be down below in the description. If you have a brand that you want to scale, go ahead and do that. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.